How often do we do this? Someone asks how we're doing, and even if our entire world is unraveling behind the scenes, we force a smile and say, "I'm fine." Take a guy standing in a peeling rented room. 2 weeks ago, he lost his job. The bills are piling up. The future is completely uncertain, and he hasn't told a single soul. He keeps his mouth shut because he thinks that's what being responsible looks like. He believes he's protecting his family by shielding them from his failure, deciding to absorb the impact entirely on his own. But keeping up that act requires an immense amount of mental energy. Psychologists call this cognitive load. This pressure gauge shows what happens to the brain in that state. You have your baseline stress of unemployment, but when you add the sheer processing power required to maintain a daily deception, the system spikes into the red. Trying to project an image of absolute strength creates a vacuum. The mental gymnastics of hiding the problem drain the exact energy you need to actually solve it. For 2 weeks, his mornings look exactly the same. He wakes up early, carefully irons his work shirt, drops an empty tiffin box, and walks out the door, all to ensure his roommates suspect nothing. Instead of going to an office, he spends his days sitting on a park bench. He taps into weak public Wi-Fi to send out resumes, watching people walk by who all seem to know exactly what they're doing with their lives. When he comes home in the evening, he is utterly exhausted. But that fatigue isn't coming from 8 hours of labor. It's coming entirely from the exhausting performance of pretending he still has a place to be. Building a life around the singular I is a highly fragile architectural choice. Trying to carry a crisis in total isolation compromises your structural integrity against the pressure. The turning point happens on a Sunday. His mom calls, asking the usual weekly questions about work, meals, and life, and he delivers the standard, rehearsed lie. Everything is great. But a mother's ear is tuned differently. She hears the exhaustion in his voice. When he tries to brush it off as a heavy workload, she pauses and tells him, "You don't have to be strong all the time." That single sentence shatters the armor. He slides to the floor, staring at his tired reflection in the black screen of his phone. His voice drops to a whisper, and for the first time in weeks, the truth slips out. "I lost my job, Mom." This breakdown marks the natural endpoint of an unsustainable mental architecture. No human being is designed to support that much weight in total isolation. On the other end of the line, there is no panic. There's no scolding. She just listens, and then she reframes the entire crisis. "We will handle it together." When you use I, a single pillar buckles under the concentrated weight of a problem. But expand the pronoun. A second pillar labeled we slides into place. The weight is instantly redistributed, stabilizing the entire structure. The biological response to that stabilization is immediate. That night, the guy gets his first full, peaceful sleep in over a fortnight. The unemployment problem is completely unsolved, yet the panic is gone. True peace originates in the shared burden. Even with the problem still present, the simple, undeniable fact of an active partnership makes the heavy weight survivable. The next morning doesn't bring a cinematic miracle. There is no surprise job offer waiting in his inbox. The rent is still due, and the tangible difficulties are still very real. But his behavior changes. Empowered by the idea of we, he drops the daily charade. He sits his roommates down, tells them he's out of work, and asks if they know anyone hiring. Giving yourself permission to lack the answers serves as a functional survival tactic. It creates the space necessary for actual resources to take hold. You have to completely dismantle the facade. That is the only way to let resources, advice, and actual help flow into the vacuum you've been guarding. We are conditioned to believe that hiding our flaws and swallowing our fear makes us look capable. In reality, suppressing the truth consumes us from the inside out. True resilience looks more like this: a massive boulder supported by interconnected hands, rather than one solitary figure straining to hold it alone. For the guy in the rented room, everything still isn't perfect today. The path forward is messy, but the crushing, suffocating weight of the lie is permanently gone. Real strength is rarely found in the flawless execution of "I'm fine," but it takes far more courage to look at the people around you and admit,
we need help.